Hello, friends. Uh, this is Amol Khedkar. Today, I'll be discussing about the topic which you can see on your screen. Singapore's new COVID 19 cases reveal the country's two very different realities. Before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you will get to know my opinion on world topics and many different current affairs through this channel. So let's dive into it. So you can see the Marina Bay Sands Resort, the famous Singapore's resort on the screen here. So Singapore is a country that is one of the four Asian tigers, right? After Japan, there were four countries that industrialized very fast in Asia. Which were those? Taiwan, South Korea, Hong Kong, and Singapore. So Singapore is one of them. Singapore is currently praised around the entire world as a very advanced society where things are very organized. You might have heard that even eating chewing gum is not allowed in Singapore. So the laws are just so strict. So but to be honest, now you will get to know about some weird things in Singapore from this article. So Singapore's government is often praised domestically and internationally for its planning and foresight, and in the past few months, particularly for the response to the coronavirus pandemic. But recent developments have demonstrated that you can't have foresight for the things you refuse to see. Okay, just try to understand this, the wording of this article. You can't have foresight on things that you refuse to see. Now, what does that mean? Okay, there are many migrant workers in Singapore. That's why the title of the article is a country with two different realities. Okay, there are many low paid migrant workers in Singapore. As you can see, 9 dormitories housing more than 50,000 men, mostly from Bangladesh, India, and China, have been declared isolation areas. Okay, so about 300,000 workers now have restrictions on their movements within their complexes. So there are so many workers that are crammed into apartments in Singapore. And you see all the glitzy and glamoury things of Singapore whenever people talk about it. So you might have heard about the Merlion, right? The lion, the famous statue in Singapore where the water is coming out of the lion's mouth, and that is why it's called Singapore, because like Singa is the name of lion in Sanskrit, right? And that's why it's a Singapore. That's why it's called the land of the lion. That's why the merlion is the symbol of Singapore. So that's just a fun fact to know. But as you can see in the next article, unfortunately, we do not have the luxury of the benefit of hindsight. This is the Minister of National Development of Singapore, and he's saying that the virus is moving so quickly. If I would have known, I would have done things differently, but no one can tell the next step. Now, Singapore is just trying to cover its own, basis over here, because they really, to be honest, every country in the world relies on migrant workers, be it UAE. Okay, I have been to Dubai, and you can see many migrant workers over there living in very cramped conditions. Almost every country in the Middle East does this. UAE, Saudi, then Kuwait, Qatar. There are many countries that rely this kind of tactic, but I mean, you would have never expected Singapore to have something like this, but here you are. Okay, Singapore is also one of the countries that has nearly 1 million work permit holders, usually referring to low wage workers such as domestic workers or manual laborers. Okay, so they live in dormitories, often with about 12 to 20 people in a room. Okay, one of the earlier clusters of COVID-19 was at a construction site. Let's go ahead. Migrant labor groups have been warning for years that these cramped, crowded conditions were a recipe for disaster. Okay, so they really even knew before this. They warned about it for chickenpox in 2008, then the dengue and Zika virus, and now they are, now it is just propping up with the COVID-19 pandemic. So, as you can see, there is no way the government did not know of the conditions in which migrant workers live and the risks that they would face during a global pandemic. The reality that COVID 19 so harshly reveals is that there have always been two Singapores. Okay, So that it's the one Singapore that you see on your screens. There on your TV screens, and many people go to Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand for cruises, and recently there have been many people going from India to places like Thailand and Singapore and Malaysia, and even Bali in Indonesia. Okay, so these ASEAN countries have really started making their place in today's world. But as you can see, the reality is that there are two Singapores, one for citizens, long-term residents and expats, and one for low-wage migrant workers who provide the back-breaking labor upon which Singapore gleams. So the Marina Bay Sands, the hotel that you see, or the Merlion thing that you see, or the skyscrapers that you see on Singapore skyline, all of them um, are a result of the migrant labor that comes to Singapore, mostly from South Asia and from China. Okay, because these are the only countries where people are willing to do these kind of things. Okay, so but as these countries start progressing, definitely people will not have the appetite to go to Singapore and start just do any sort of work over there. So one more one we'll just go through this article ahead. This logic has even extended into virus containment measures. Uh, so the logic is that the migrant workers don't have any rights as such, as you can see in the previous paragraph. So just look at this. The Minister of Singapore says that it is important to realize and recognize that we are dealing with two separate infections. Okay, what are two separate infections? One is the infection that is affecting the rich and wealthy people in Singapore, and one is affecting the low paid migrant workers in Singapore. Okay, so just look at this. While returning Singaporeans and permanent residents serve isolation periods in the comfort of hotels, even with laundry and personal shopping services, there is now a desperate hurry to find alternative solutions for the huge migrant worker population. Those confirmed to have coronavirus have already been relocated, but the government is still facing an urgent need to reduce population density within dormitories. Okay, Um so just look at this again. It is very important to understand the news between the lines, and that is the reason, one of the reasons why I have started this podcast sort of thing, because many times you hear news but you don't understand what exactly it means, and what exactly is the hidden message into it. So now look at this. Healthy workers performing essential services are being relocated to empty public housing flats. Just try to understand this. Healthy workers performing essential services. What are essential services? Essential services are the services that are essential for the state, for the country. Okay, so Singapore, what are the essential services of Singapore? They are like migrant laborers who are doing like any sort of random jobs that native Singaporeans are not willing to do. Those are called as essential services. So if you have heard, recently even New Zealand announced Easter Bunny as an essential worker. Okay, Easter Bunny. So if you know something about the Easter holiday, they usually have the Easter Bunny, and the government of New Zealand just announced that Easter Bunny is an essential service. And I mean, to be honest, does this make any sense? It's just I mean, this is like uh, people are dying on the streets. Many migrant workers are not having enough healthcare, and you guys are engaged in these kind of shenanigans where you just want to declare a so-called Easter Bunny as an essential worker. So this just gives you the disparity between the rich people who live in these countries and the extremely undernourished and unprivileged people that provide the backbone of most of these countries. Okay, so the COVID-19 response is stretching the ministries to the limit, and ministers have pleaded with the public for understanding. Okay, one sympathizes with the civil servants grappling with a mammoth task. Singapore is such a small country. It's not even a country, it's a city state. Okay, you can travel the entire of Singapore in just 1 hour. Okay, it's very very small, and it is so cramped, it is so crowded that literally I've heard instances where if you want to go to a restaurant in Singapore, then you have to put your handkerchief on one of the chairs so that nobody else takes that chair. Okay, it's something like that. And Singapore is a country that has stopped allowing any person to become permanent resident because they are full at this point. Okay, Singapore is a very small country, and almost 80 to 85% of the people in Singapore live in public housing. Okay, because they don't allow you to own a car. In Singapore, it is very hard to own a car. Everybody uses public housing. Oh, sorry, public transport, and it is also very difficult to own a house in Singapore because there is no land. Okay, so everybody lives in government houses, and the government houses are given to people on a lease basis. Okay, like a 99-year lease, and then they are taken back from them. So the Minister for Manpower has pledged that living conditions in dormitories will be further addressed once this crucial period is over, while the Prime Minister himself has made a commitment to care for the well-being of these workers. So now that the chicken is out of the egg, so now that their double standards are being revealed in Singapore, now they are saying that they are going to address this situation once the pandemic is over. So to be honest, this was something that was happening for long time. Okay, there are instances of racial profiling in Singapore that go back to almost the 60s and 70s. Okay, in 1965, Singapore got its so-called independence from Malaysia, and then it started its own journey. But in Singapore right now, there are 75% of Chinese people, and there are Indians, and there are Malays, there are Indonesians. It's a whole mix of them, but definitely Chinese people have majority in Singapore, and that's why Lee Kuan Yew, the first president of Singapore, has suggested that Singapore is always going to be a Chinese dominated city state. Okay, so there are even requirements in the housing things where you cannot have, if there is a building, then you need to have equal representation of ethnic minorities in the building as per the setup in the country. So what I mean by that is, if say 75% people are Chinese, then 75% people need to be of Chinese descent in each apartment complex. Okay, then say I think around 10% are Indians, then 10% have to represent in the apartment complex. So like the exact same kind of makeup or setup as they have in the country. So the last statement just says that these promises need to be kept. When people eventually return to their regular routine, Singapore cannot return to its exploitative model that pretends migrant workers aren't really part of the local population, even as it profits from their labor. So this is just another example how countries profit from the migrant labor. I have made videos about these. Okay, how students really need to stop going to foreign countries to study, so-called studying over there, where they want to just take the money out of Indian students and give them the so-called enlightenment of education. Okay, so the last line is very important. Exploitative model of Singapore. Okay, definitely Singapore is having this exploitation of migrants on low paid jobs. Okay, and who aren't really part of the local population. Okay, so this just goes on to tell you, okay, there are two kinds of Singapore, there are two kinds of Dubai, there are two kinds of Saudi, there are two kinds of Qatar. Okay, there are two kinds of Kuwait. Okay, there are two kinds of America, there are two kinds of Canada, there are two kinds of Australia. So all of these countries are really going to make sure that the immigrants usually do the jobs that the locals refuse to do. Okay, this is a very well-known saying that immigrants always do the jobs that locals refuse to do. Okay, so there are many people in Texas that just refuse to cut lawns. Okay, they will not mow the lawns. There's a lawn mower, right? So they cannot mow the lawns. They will refuse to do that. So who does that? Mexican immigrants who are illegal. Okay, who are illegal Mexican immigrants. They do that job. Why? Because the native population is not willing to do that. And so US also profits from illegal immigration way too much. Okay, so to be honest, if Trump starts building a wall on the US-Mexico border, that is going to hamper US more than it is going to hamper Mexico. Okay, so one more thing that I wanted to point out is that aren't really part of the local population, even as it profits from their labor. So Singapore definitely profits from the labor of these migrant workers, which are living in just so destitute situations where there are more than 20 people living in a single room. in a situation of a pandemic like this. And this is what Singapore is. Okay, this is what most of the countries that want immigrants and that desperately need people to come into their countries to start working really all about. So thank you for listening. If you like this, or if you if you agree with me or disagree with me, please let me know in the comments. And please subscribe to my channel so that I can understand that you are liking videos like these and you will not miss any notification from my side. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.